evening, ladies and gentlemen. While the opposition is still rallying to project a united front for the 2024 polls, Prime Minister Modi has already charted the course for 2029. Not only did Prime Minister Modi crush the no-confidence motion against his government, he won a thumping mandate. Quite literally, in the parliament, he used the 2-hour, 14-minute speech to sound the war bugle, sending a message that all contenders will be crushed by the might of the mandate he hopes to win in 2024. While the Congress called for this trust vote, ironically, they didn't even wait for the voting. In fact, they didn't even wait for the Prime Minister's response on Manipur violence when they walked out of the House. Watch how the opposition staged a walkout led by Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, with Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, Gaurav Gogoi, Shashi Tharoor, Kanimori, Supriya Sule and others following suit. But first, let's show you the moment when Modi won the trust vote in Lok Sabha.
श्री गौरव गोगोई जी, श्री गौरव गोगोई जी, गौरव गोगोई जी, अब मैं श्री गौरव गोगोई द्वारा प्रस्तुत प्रस्ताव को सभा में मतदान के लिए रखूंगा। प्रश्न ये कि सभा मंत्रिपरिषद में विश्वास का अभाव व्यक्त करती है। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में वहां गए, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में ना गए, मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में प्रस्ताव अस्वीकृत हुआ।
But this trust vote was preceded by Prime Minister's speech where he turned the tables on the opposition. He said that it's not I.N.D.I.A but Ghamandia, which has been rejected repeatedly by the country. Calling them power-hungry, he said the Congress has always put self over seva. On Manipur, he was unsparing, calling the violence as a result of the Congress's mismanagement and appeasement policy in the past. Listen in.
बरसों से एक ही फेल्ड प्रोडक्ट उसको बार-बार लॉन्च करते हैं। हर बार लॉन्चिंग फेल हो जाती है और अब उसका नतीजा ये हुआ है, मतदाताओं के प्रति उनकी नफरत भी 7वें आसमान पर पहुंच गई है। उनका लॉन्चिंग फेल होता है, नफरत जनता पे करते हैं। पीआर वाले प्रचार क्या करते हैं? मोहब्बत की दुकान का प्रचार करते हैं, इकोसिस्टम लग पड़ती है। इसलिए देश की जनता भी कह रही है ये है लूट की दुकान, ये है लूट की दुकान, झूठ का बाजार। ये है लूट की दुकान, झूठ का बाजार। इसमें नफरत है, घोटाले हैं, तुष्टीकरण है, मन काले हैं। परिवारवाद की आग के दशकों से देश हवाले है। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, ये इंडिया गठबंधन नहीं है, ये इंडिया गठबंधन नहीं है, एक घमंडिया गठबंधन है। ये इंडिया गठबंधन नहीं है, घमंडिया गठबंधन है। और इसकी बारात में हर कोई दूल्हा बनना चाहता है, सबको प्रधानमंत्री बनना है। जब मणिपुर में वो एक समय था, हर व्यवस्था उग्रवादी संगठनों की मर्जी से चलती थी, वो कहे वो होता था। और उस समय सरकार किसकी थी मणिपुर में? किसकी सरकार थी? जब सरकारी दफ्तरों में महात्मा गांधी की फोटो नहीं लगाने दी जाती थी, तब सरकार किसकी थी? जब मोइरांग में आजाद हिंद फौज के संग्रहालय पर नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस की प्रतिमा पर बम फेंका गया, तब मणिपुर में सरकार किसकी थी? तब मणिपुर में सरकार किसकी थी? जब अफसर, हाल देखिए, IAS, IPS अफसर, उनको अगर वहां पर काम करना है तो उनके तनख्वाह का एक हिस्सा उनको इन उग्रवादी लोगों को देना पड़ता था, तब जाकर के वो रह पाते थे। तब सरकार किसकी थी? आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, इनकी पीड़ा सिलेक्टिव है, इनकी संवेदनाएं सिलेक्टिव है।
But the Prime Minister didn't just stop there. He exuded confidence of his win in 2024 and is now preparing for the 2029 polls. Look at the clarion call he gave today. Listen in.
लेकिन मुझे दुख इस बात का है कि 18 के बाद 23 में 5 साल मिले, थोड़ा अच्छा करते, अच्छे ढंग से करते, लेकिन तैयारी बिल्कुल नहीं थी, कोई इनोवेशन नहीं था, कोई क्रिएटिविटी नहीं थी, न मुद्दे खोज पा रहे थे। चलिए कोई बात नहीं, 2028 में मैं फिर से मौका दूंगा, लेकिन मैं इस बार उनसे आग्रह करता हूं कि जब 28 में आप अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लेकर के आए हमारी सरकार के खिलाफ, थोड़ी तैयारी करके आइए। देश का विश्वास है कि 2028 में आप जब अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लेके आएंगे, तब ये देश पहले 3 में होगा, ये देश का विश्वास है।
After the walkout by the opposition came out and said that the Prime Minister failed to speak on Manipur and also claimed that he was scared of the Congress party. Watch what the opposition had to say.
प्रधानमंत्री जी आज भी मणिपुर के मुद्दे पे नीरव रह गए, तो नीरव रहने के चलते मैंने सोचा कि नया नीरव मोदी को देखने में क्या फायदा, क्योंकि मोदी जी नीरव रहते हैं, तो इसलिए इनके बात सुनने में क्या फायदा होगी, क्या जरूरत क्या है, क्योंकि उनकी दरबारियों ने सारे बात कर चुके हैं। मोदी जी जिस बातों को दोहराते हैं, उनकी दरबारियों ने सारे कुछ कर चुके हैं।
My 3 questions remain unanswered. 1, why hasn't the Prime Minister made any plans to go to Manipur? 2, why hasn't the Prime Minister made any concrete statement on Manipur? He's only spoken for 30 seconds so far. And 3, why hasn't he asked his Chief Minister to resign?
हमारी अपेक्षा थी कि माननीय प्रधानमंत्री को हम सुनना चाहते थे और बड़ी अपेक्षा से हम रुके हुए थे कि अभी नहीं तो आगे 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 वो कुछ इकोनॉमी के बारे में बोले, महंगाई के बारे में बोले, बेरोजगारी के बारे में बोले, नहीं तो मणिपुर के में विस्थापित पूरा बोले। हमारी अपेक्षा थी, इच्छा थी कि मणिपुर की बहनों के लिए बोले, जो अत्याचार हो से उसके खिलाफ बोले, लेकिन 1.5 घंटे में उसमें से 90% टाइम वो इंडिया पे बोले।
So, ladies and gentlemen, the legitimate question on the NewsHour tonight: has the trust vote boomeranged on the India alliance? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the NewsHour at 9, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP. Also joining me this evening is Rajagopalan, who is senior journalist. Joining me in the studio tonight, Suhail Seth, columnist, also advertising copy, bigwig. Joining me this evening is Karthik Reddy, National Spokesperson of the BRS, Advocate Varis Pathan, National Spokesperson of the AIMIM, Bishwajit Deb, Spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress, A. Sarvanan, National Spokesperson of the DMK. But my first question goes to Dr. L. Hanumantaiah, Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament of the Congress Party. And Dr. Hanumantaiah, my question to you is, you brought in the antitrust vote. And you didn't even wait to hear the response from the Prime Minister. You walked out even while the Prime Minister was speaking. You didn't have the numbers. You brought in the no confidence motion. Then you didn't even want to listen to the Prime Minister. And instead, he said very plainly that the match was called by you. The fielders left the field and chokkas and chakkas, all boundaries were hit by the government today in Lok Sabha. What did the Congress gain? What did the India alliance gain from this no confidence motion?
See, the situation why the no confidence motion has been moved in the Lok Sabha is because the Prime Minister did not utter a single word about Manipur, though hundreds of people have died, lakhs of people lost their property, lakhs of people have become orphans, they are all in the orphanages. So when such a condition, can you expect a Prime Minister never speaks about that, never think about that, never say anything, a single word, either inside the parliament or outside the parliament? So what is the alternative left out? We demanded a discussion under 267, which gives ample of time to all the political parties to speak about that. In both the houses, when the 267 has been rejected, then the no confidence motion is moved, and that was the only alternative left out for the opposition parties without any other alternative.
But
So
Dr. Hanumanthaiah, if you wanted a debate on Manipur, you should have got a debate on Manipur. Why did you bring in a no confidence motion? Because a no confidence motion is about the performance of the government. So the government is going to talk about their achievements and their performance. And may I tell you, did the Prime Minister not hold the mirror to you when he said the Congress's mistakes in the Northeast in the past? Have you forgotten what the Prime Minister reminded you today about the Air Force action in Mizoram in 1966, about Nehru leaving the people of Assam to their fate in 1962, about the bombing of the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose statue in the Northeast? What about the lawlessness in Manipur from 1993 to 2012? Have you forgotten, and did the Prime Minister not remind you of your own history? What about separatist groups that you have actually shaken hands with, whether it was Brindanwale, who became a Frankenstein monster for you in Punjab, or whether it was Yasin Malik, with whom Dr. Manmohan Singh used to hold conferences and shake hands? The question is, the mirror was shown by the Prime Minister to you. Is that why you walked out of Parliament today?
Yeah. The interpretation of the Prime Minister, the wrong interpretation of the Prime Minister of history is always a fashion. He calls opposition Tukde Tukde gang. That is not a new thing. Whoever joins the BJP, they are not becoming terrorists. They are not separatists, they are the patriots. Whoever not joining the BJP, they will become the traitors, they will become anti-India, they will become the separatists. This is what the history tells us. We must know that history also.
So you are saying Yasin Malik is not a separatist at all? Are you saying that? GVL Narasimha Rao, what is Dr. Hanumanthaiah trying to defend tonight?
But the Prime Minister, whenever he said, in the last 9 years, he is the habit of accusing the opposition parties who are not with them, who are not cooperating with them. But he always accuses the opposition parties and the wrong history which that situation demands.
Which part of this history is wrong, GVL Narasimha Rao? Please respond to Dr. Hanumanthaiah. Which part of the history quoted by the Prime Minister is wrong tonight?
Navika. No, Navika, today the Congress party, I think, having realized halfway through the speech of the Honorable Prime Minister, they realized that they've indulged in a very self-destruct action by resorting to a use of no confidence motion as a weapon in their arsenal. And they spoke during the 3 days a whole range of issues. And it is the right of the Prime Minister to really counter all those allegations that have been made over the last 3 days. If they did not have the patience to listen, they should not have even asked for a debate on this issue. And on Manipur, from day one, July 19, when the House convened, in both the houses, the government said we are prepared for a debate. And Honorable Home Minister has written letters to the leaders of opposition in both the houses. And in fact, in Rajya Sabha, of which I am a member, and so is Dr. I.N.D.I.A, it was listed for a debate. There was no restriction on time. Government said we are willing to debate for 6 hours or longer. If you wanted only a debate on this, you should have accepted it. The Congress party never wanted a debate on Manipur.
It is wrong.
They only wanted to, they just wanted to, they wanted to just divert attention of the people from their own failings. They wanted to derail Parliament, so they did not use opportunities to discuss. On Manipur, Home Minister gave a detailed account of what all has happened and how the government has dealt with it over half an hour yesterday.
Navika, shall I clarify
and the Prime Minister also referred to the broad contours of the government decision, but when he held out a mirror to the opposition, 1966 action, is this not a part of history? Do people of Mizoram not know how Air Force, how people were, civilians were bombarded, how the civilian areas was targeted because you wanted to put down an uprising, a conflict? So the Congress today, the only outcome of this debate, Navika, is to show that the opposition is not serious about their parliamentary performance. They only want to shoot and scoot. And Rahul Gandhi comes out as a Romeo Gandhi. I think that's the only outcome for the Congress party and opposition. And as far as this particular 3 days of discussion about no confidence is concerned.
Rajagopalanji, Rahul Gandhi turns out to be a Romeo Gandhi. What did you make of Mr. Rahul Gandhi?
Rahul Gandhi should not have indulged in flying kisses or winking. That is apart from that, Navika. The opposition had no coordination. Opposition miserably failed. Opposition should have not walked out. They should have waited for Mr. Narendra Modi to speak on, the Prime Minister speak on Manipur. Prime Minister waited till the opposition walked out. Then he started Manipur. At least the government expected, at least I expected the opposition will come back because walkout is a gesture. So they should have returned the voting pattern and they would have got the splash on that. Today, Mr. Narendra Modi put Congress in a washing machine, rinsed, cleaned, dried, put it on that clip. He has done extremely well. My understanding, I have seen many no trust motions and speeches by the opposition. Today opposition betrayed Indian voters because they wanted Narendra Modi. But when Narendra Modi comes, they walk out. What is the use of Gagoi spoke very well, Navika, I tell you. Gagoi had articulated very well. The same thing should have been with Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and Rahul Gandhi. They distracted. Bharat Mata ki Hatya, ye, wo, that. But Prime Minister also gave a mouthful to DMK. That is what I would like to say. Because Kachatyevu was given during Karunanidhi Indira Gandhi time. That is why Prime Minister said, Ma Bharatika, aapne hatya kiya. That is why Nirmala Sitharaman also said, Jayalalitha was robbed and her sari was stripped off. She mentioned that. Therefore, Prime Minister's 2024 focus is more on Tamil Nadu. That is the message I could get. And Telangana. These are all certain states. Apart from that, my understanding of the no trust motion was opposition should have behaved much more, responsibly, diligently, because they betrayed the confidence of Indian voters. They should not have done it. Trinamool Congress should not have walked out. Trinamool Congress should have stayed.
All right.
Should not have walked out.
Hands going up on the panel. A. Sarvanan, I know you are, wanting to come in. Counter from you before I get in Mr. Biswajit Deb. Sarvanan.
Yes. Yeah. Today's speech of the Prime Minister was historic. Historic in the sense that he was only speaking about history. He is not bothered about the current situation. What's the point in talking about what happened 50 years back? Manmohan Singh visited Kokrajhar in 2012 when there was a similar situation. The question is why the Prime Minister did not visit Manipur. He should have offered solace. He did not do that. He was not even bothered to talk about that anywhere else. That apart, it is historic in the sense that this must be the most boring ever speech given in a no confidence motion. It was like a lullaby. We have seen it enforced, it induced so much of sleep in the treasury benches. So, this is one aspect of that.
You tell
the
about
other thing is this.
No,
the other thing is this.
if it puts you to sleep, that's exactly what the Prime Minister wants, doesn't he, Mr. Suhail said? Because Saravanan says it was like a lullaby and, he put everybody to sleep. Doesn't it prove a point that the Prime Minister has clearly said that up to 2028, when the next no confidence motion can come in, the opposition can just go to sleep? Because the opposition clearly did not have the homework done to try and somehow put the government on the mat. They didn't have the numbers. Has this entire no confidence motion boomeranged on the opposition?
No, it has actually boomeranged on the people of the Republic of India. People have taken Parliament to be a sham organization. The very people who brought in the no confidence motion weren't there to see it end. There's a very old saying, Navika, which I want Dr. Hanumantaiah to carry to Rahul Gandhi. It's in simple English. It says, let thy speech be better than silence, or it's best to be silent. You don't have to speak on things that you don't know about. A, B. Mr. Saravanan of DMK talks about a lullaby. First, I didn't understand what he was saying because I couldn't understand the word. So, Mr. Saravanan, isn't it sad that a senior politician, political figure like you, belonging to a dynasty of politics, refers to a prime ministerial argument defending the no confidence motion as a lullaby? Are you sleeping dogs that must be allowed to lie in Parliament? Is this what Parliament is about? Are we actually coming to be a country where we mock prime ministerial rebuttals to a motion that has been brought in by various parties of the opposition? Something, Mr. Saravanan, I didn't interrupt you. Please don't interrupt me. I'll finish pretty quickly. I have the following to say, Navika. Today, it was quite evident that the opposition does not have a voice, leave alone speak in a unified voice. Why did they get out? They got out because they knew that they were being pulverized on the basis of facts. What were the speeches that the opposition largely, by and large, made? Some which were supporting the government, like the BJD. The others, they were tenuous accusations garbed in vile retributive abuse against one man who this country has elected as its prime minister. He hasn't come in from Sri Lanka when I last checked. The Indian Prime Minister has been subject to the kind of vile abuse both within and outside India like I have never seen before. Why should he not rely on history? Why should he not talk about the mess-ups that had happened? Mr. Saravanan is aware that even the DMK was dragged into the 2G scam. He's aware of it, and they got out of it because of judicial intervention. Now you tell me, Mr. Saravanan, you come from a party which has a great lineage from Karunanidhi ji downwards. Why should history not be mentioned as a referral point, as contextual? Why should we not talk about the fact that there was a time in Manipur when you couldn't even use Mahatma Gandhi's photographs or his pictures? My point, Mr. Saravanan, is not to argue about who's right or who's wrong. I have a simple citizen point. Parliament was called to session. The demand from day one was Narendra Modi must speak on Manipur in Parliament. That was the single line demand. Sessions were wasted. Bills didn't pass through. Time was wasted. Each member of Parliament gets 2,000 rupees a day from your and my money as taxpayers. Today, when the Prime Minister comes to the House, he waits, he speaks. Just as he's about to speak, on the 97th minute, the opposition walks out saying, oh, he hasn't spoken. Is Narendra Modi going to speak to your timeline? Is he going to prepare his oration based on your demands? You say you have a pain in your knee, a pain in your stomach, a pain in the head. Is this what we are bringing democracy down to? Is this what Parliament is about? Is this the
Navika,
voice of the people? Where are the people?
Navika, can I
You know, when whales
you
fight,
give me
shrimps
10
are eaten.
seconds.
The people of India have become
is
shrimps
going
thanks
on,
to your
rambling
political
on and
divisiveness.
on and on and on. Can I come in,
Now
Navika?
go ahead. What do you mean on
Yes,
and on? I have something to
30
say.
seconds
And I'm
to 1
saying it
minute.
in language that
20
can be
seconds. I'll
understood.
give you 20 seconds for a counter and then Mr. Biswajit
Mr.
Dey.
Saravanan, I was not rude to you, and I was
Yes.
only referring to you in the politest
Yes,
manner.
yes,
So
yes,
don't say
yes,
on
yes.
and on and on. I have
See,
things to
that's
say
what.
in
It's
English
really
that is
farcical.
understandable. So let me finish and then you can
Yes,
interrupt.
everybody has. Everybody has things
But
to
you're
say.
not the anchor. You see, the
Yes,
problem,
sir.
Mr.
This is
Saravanan,
my
is
time.
you're
Let
a
me speak.
panelist. You will not ever rise to
Yes,
be an
sir,
anchor.
but everybody,
Either
it's a
anchor as a
democracy, you
humorist
see.
or an anchor
Every
on television.
opinion has to have equal voice. This is all
No,
about
no,
democracy.
no. What
Every
equal
opinion
voice?
has
You're
to have
talking from
equal
the
voice.
DMK.
See,
What equal
the
voice?
question-
I will not allow you to
Mr.
speak.
Suhail said was talking
Let
about...
Navika do what she
Sir,
wants.
it's
I will
my
also not
choice,
allow
sir.
you to
My
speak.
turn.
Is that the
Sir,
way you
it's
want?
my turn. Will you allow me to speak?
We are not into the politics of debasement. So now, respectfully, I will allow you to speak and I will not say one more
I
word.
know, when you support
Thank you.
BJP, I know you are intolerant. When you support the BJP, RSS,
No,
you
no,
are
but why don't
intolerant. I
you?
know that.
Why don't you
Mr. Suhail
respond?
was talking
Why don't
about-
you respond to the question raised by Mr. Rajagopalan? Why
I
don't
am
you
going to
respond to
Navika.
the charge
Only if
made
you
by
allow
the
me
Prime
to.
Minister?
Kachativu,
Did the
Kachativu,
DMK not want a
Kachativu.
separate country?
Kachativu.
Did they not want autonomy?
Kachativu, who gave it?
Yes, I'm coming to
Which
that.
regime?
And what are you part
Minister
of?
said
What
about
is this
Kachativu.
India alliance?
Jayalalitha.
And the Prime Minister has
Standing
shown
in
you
this
the
law.
mirror.
Yes. Yes. Yes, Navika. See, Mr. Suhail said was very eloquent. He said, oh, why this obsession with the
Kachativu,
Prime Minister?
Kachativu.
The single word, Modi, Modi. Everything is wasted.
Kachativu.
I'm coming to it. Everything is wasted. This is done. That is done. The simple question is this. If Mr. Modi was equally caring about wastage of taxpayers' money, wastage of the parliament's time,
Why are you not answering on the question that is being asked, Mr. Saravanan? You are running away from the question, so let me get it. I gave you 20 seconds. You did not answer the question that was raised. You did not respond to the charge that was made by the Prime Minister.
On Kachativu.
I am coming to that. He asked me a
When,
question.
sir?
Navika, he asked me a question. I am answering to that. I'll come to this. Kachativu. I'll come to that now. Now I'll speak about Kachativu. See, the Prime Minister said, we have a Chief Minister who keeps on writing letters about Kachativu. Who gave it? It said he is referring to Madam Indira Gandhi. If the Prime Minister
Who was
has
Chief
done
Minister at that
something
time?
about Kachativu, people of Tamil Nadu would have celebrated the
Kachativu,
Prime Minister.
Kachativu.
But what did the Prime Minister do about Kachativu? Has he done anything?
What did
Has he
Chief
just
Minister do? Only writing
taken
letters.
this, paper
Only
and put
writing
it there on
letters.
Kachativu? Nothing.
Chief Minister.
So what right? He has got to speak
What
about
did Karnanidhi do?
Kachativu. And let me also put it on record. The BJP RSS ecosystem is terrorized and terrified by a
Why
leader
did you
Mr.
walk out?
Stalin.
Why
They
did
are
you walk out
afraid
instead of
the
saying about
ideology of the
Kachativu?
BJP, the
Why
Dravidian
DMK walked
ideology.
out?
They are afraid.
Why DMK walked out? You say that 2G. 2G was referred. Why DMK walked out?
Well, we
You have to
are
defend that.
derailing the
Why
debate.
did you
No,
walk
no,
out?
no. We are derailing the debate. I'm bringing the debate back to order and bringing it back because, Mr. Saravanan, I've given you 5 opportunities to respond to the charges. You haven't. Sorry, you lose your time. Mr. Biswajit Dey. Mr. Biswajit Dey, the question tonight is, the Prime Minister has literally hit the ball out of the park. And Mr. Biswajit Dey, is it ill-advised by the India alliance to bring in a no-confidence motion, give the opportunity, to the treasury benches and a big orator like the Prime Minister, and then just leave the field and run away? Is that the way no confidence motion is brought in, especially on issues that you wanted answers on, and you don't have the strength to sit back and listen to those answers?
Well, we were very surprised today when we saw that the Prime Minister did not utter a single word about Manipur for the first 90 minutes. He didn't have any time to speak about Manipur for the first 90 minutes. And when he did speak about Manipur for a few minutes, we can see his priorities. The priorities of the Prime Minister. The priorities were the BJP scheme, the schemes of the BJP, and his attack on the Indian alliance and his attack on Indian National Congress. That was his agenda today. And it was a sheer publicity, his own publicity, what he was doing inside the parliament, and he was campaigning for the 2024 elections. That is what we can see. When Manipur was crying, when Manipur, each and every people in Manipur, they were crying, and we could see the Prime Minister is laughing and giggling inside the parliament. This is not expected from the Prime Minister. We expected that he will come up with a specific solution.
Yesterday they passed the resolution. House passed the resolution.
He did not allow the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, to visit Manipur on 3rd of June. But we can see that the 150 people have died in Manipur. 60,000 people are homeless. At least 300 places of worship has been burned down. But not a single word from Prime Minister. Not a single word. He did not condemn these incidents. We are very surprised to see that he didn't have the time to visit Manipur.
I don't think, Dada, you heard the entire speech, because the Prime Minister not only condemned it, he said that everybody needs to come together, not make politics out of it, but actually bring a solution. But GVL Narasimha Rao is countering you. GVL.
Problem is, unfortunately,
Navika, it is the opposition cannot decide. The opposition cannot decide when Prime Minister chooses to speak on what subject and how he counters opposition's lies in Parliament. You can't expect, you can't second guess Prime Minister. You could have waited until the end of his speech, and you could have made, okay, apart from all other issues, we also raised this Manipur issue, which he was not responding to. Gogoi actually had a right to reply at the end of this debate after Prime Minister spoke. Gogoi could have asked, he would have had an opportunity to ask, why did you not mention about Manipur, if he had not mentioned? But you cannot be impatient. You cannot decide what the Prime Minister will speak. You cannot decide when he will speak. And you cannot expect him to really gloss over all the blunders and all the anti-India activities that opposition has carried out. He exposed the arrogance of this entire alliance. You have used an instrument called no confidence motion, and how can you expect it to be only a debate on Manipur? And how serious is the opposition? When Rahul Gandhi throws flying kisses in Parliament, when the opposition walks out of the House, they don't even care to return when the vote happens in no confidence motion. It only shows the opposition has realized its own weaknesses. It realized its own blunders.
Absolutely. The question really is, Dr. Hanumanthaiah, if you bring in a no confidence motion, shouldn't you be there for the vote at least? Or did you not want to be embarrassed by the numbers on the board because you really did not have the numbers? So why ask for a no confidence motion, and how can the opposition dictate terms on how the Prime Minister is going to speak?
I told you that what is the circumstance demanded the opposition parties to go for a no confidence motion. That is one. Neither the Home Minister nor the Prime Minister replied the real questions of Manipur. That is, whether the intelligence have failed in Manipur.
Home Minister spoke
whether
about Manipur
the intelligence have failed in Manipur. Whether the Prime Minister must agree that he has...
The Home Minister spoke
He has not altered a single word about
the Home Minister spoke for 123 minutes, and he spoke at length about Manipur, and Dr. Hanumanthaiah thinks that there is no answer that has been given. So the question that I want to ask, you, Mr. Varis Pathan, 2028 में अब अगला वोट होगा. no confidence vote. The Prime Minister today predicted it because that's the way it's been happening. 2018 there was a no confidence vote. They didn't have the numbers. They brought in the no confidence vote, but it was only some sort of a drama because nobody wants to stay back for the votes to be counted. Nobody asks for division because they don't want to be embarrassed by the number. 2023, we saw the repetition of the same thing. When the Prime Minister says, I'm expecting another no confidence vote in 2028, has he just completely put the opposition on the back foot?
Well, today's Prime Minister's speech was boring, rooting, disappointing, filled with arrogance and rhetorics. He spoke for around 133 minutes in the Lok Sabha, out of which only 4 minutes he gave on Manipur. The serious issue is Manipur. No confidence was brought looking into the issue, this serious violence which took place in Manipur. And what did he say? There were pointed questions asked to him. Did he reply to any of that? He was asked, when will the CM resign? He had no answer to that. 60,000 people are homeless today. What is the government's view there? Nothing. What he will do with the people who have taken or run away with the arms and ammunition? More than 5,000 arms, AK-47 rifles have been taken over by the Manipur people. He had no answer for that. Our party president has raised several issues. He's raised 11 points. He did not have answer to anything. He did not condemn the issue of NU and Haryana which is burning. There is also BJP state. Why did he not condemn? Why did he not take into consideration? The Punjab and Haryana High Court has said that they have taken suo motu action and that they have directed the CM and the state that why is this cleansing, ethnic cleansing. He did not reply to that. No condemnation of rights, nothing. So what the speech was? Only I-N-D-I-A. He was talking on them only. And rhetorics. He's singing a song from that Sharabi movie. Amitabh Bachchan, doobne wale ko tinke ka sahara hi bahut. What is this going on? It's a serious issue. Manipur people have seen what you, me, everybody has seen. The nation has watched. What has happened to Manipur? What about the women who were paraded naked? What? He just said, Kanun success tak karwai karega. Arre, but why? Why was the intelligence failure? Yesterday also, Home Minister Amit Shah said, just that video nikala, immediately usko jaake dena tha police ko. Arre, Baba, what was your intelligence doing? Why no action? Why no steps were taken to see that on the 4th when it happened? The same very day you should have arrested. But no. And what is the future plan? When is the Prime Minister visiting Manipur? Nothing on that issue at all. Out of the 11 points raised,
Suhail said wants to counter you. Suhail said wants to counter you. Such eloquence on the debate tonight, Suhail said, but clearly all of these pointers were not available in Parliament by the opposition.
No, the other thing is Varis, who I have a lot of affection for, you have to recognize.
He had raised the issue. China was raised,
no confidence
was raised, was raised.
This is a no confidence motion.
All the incidents we have
raised. The Prime Minister has every right. Why? 1 minute, yaar. The Prime Minister has every right to structure his speech. This is not Varis Pathan's speech as Prime Minister. Khuda ek din wo bhi shayad ho jaye.
No. So you are wrong.
It's the Prime Minister's speech rebutting a no confidence
motion
brought in by 26 or 27 opposition parties. You and I can't tell him, you say this at this time, this at that time, and cover this. He has covered every issue. The no confidence motion is not only about Manipur.
No.
It is a no confidence motion.
China? Did he spoke about China? Did he spoke about Haryana?
The Prime Minister will make a robust defense which is holistic.
No, Sohail, you are...
He doesn't need to address only one issue.
Don't make false and business statements. Sohail said, please...
Dr. Hanuman says Amit Shah
he has to address the issue raised by the opposition.
There was a no confidence motion
brought out by the opposition against him.
Amit Shah spoke about Manipur yesterday.
But he was
mentioned Rahul Gandhi's failed visit. तुम अपनी कवाली और शायरी बंबई में रखो ना हर वक्त नेशनल चैनल पे ये डूबने वाले को तिनके का सहारा चाहिए ये कोई बात है वारिस भाई ईद के मिलन पे वारिस के घर पे में आना चाहिए कवाली भी अब सीरियस इशू यार अगेन here's the you're discussing Narendra Modi's rebuttal and you're bringing about examples of Amitabh Bachchan in Sharabi. I mean, let's get serious for a change here. Now you tell me, Varis, did the opposition have any business to walk out the way they did? Put your hand on your heart, because I know you have a heart. The last time you tell me, was it a good thing for the opposition before the speech ended to walk out? तो मेरे को सच सच बोलो, क्योंकि तुम सच्चे इंसान हो.
No, but he was.
Do you think it was the right thing to do? Yes or no?
So
Yes or no?
tell me that serious issue was ongoing. Manipur is a very, very serious issue. Ain't that people are laughing? He is making a speech.
Whether people are laughing.
Should the opposition,
they are laughing.
Is it a matter of laughter?
I'm asking you a simple question.
But my question is, Varis Pathan, you asked for the no confidence motion, the Prime Minister is responding, the opposition walks out, and now Mallikarjun Kharge puts out a tweet, and what does he say? धन्यवाद प्रधानमंत्री जी, आखिरकार आपने मणिपुर हिंसा पर सदन में अपनी बात रखी. हमें भरोसा है कि मणिपुर में शांति बहाली की गति तेज होगी, राहत शिविरों से लोग अपने घरों को लौटेंगे, उनका पुनर्वास होगा, उनके साथ इंसाफ होगा. आपने अगर अपना राजहट और अहंकार पहले त्याग दिया होता तो संसद का कीमती समय बचता, अहम विधेयक अच्छी चर्चा के साथ पास होते. हमें तकलीफ है कि मणिपुर हिंसा जैसे अभूतपूर्व मुद्दे पर विपक्ष को अविश्वास प्रस्ताव जैसे संसदीय हथियार का उपयोग करना पड़ा, लेकिन सदन का उपयोग भी आपने चुनावी रैली के रूप में किया. आखिरी दौर में लोकसभा में कांग्रेस के नेता श्री अधीर रंजन चौधरी का निलंबन किया, सस्पेंशन ऑफ अधीर रंजन चौधरी. माय क्वेश्चन इज कार्तिक रेड्डी. My question is, Karthik Reddy, the no confidence motion as an instrument of parliamentary policy and procedure was brought in by the opposition. And in the no confidence motion, it cannot be limited to one issue alone. It will always be about the record and the report card of the government. And the government will use that opportunity to talk about their own achievements. So why is the opposition playing the victim card, number one? And number two, the Prime Minister has said it, that in 2018, you didn't have the numbers, you brought in a no confidence motion. Predictably, now in 2023, similar situation, no numbers, walk out before voting, and now he's almost prophesied that the same thing will happen in 2028. Has the Prime Minister won the game, set and match of this particular game that was started by the opposition?
नाविका जी, किस तरह मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे जी ने प्रधानमंत्री जी से इंसाफ पूछे आज उनके ट्वीट के माध्यम से, मैं आपसे इंसाफ पूछता हूं इस डिबेट में. आई एम ऑन द लास्ट पर्सन टू स्पीक. आई होप you would let me speak for at least few minutes before intervening.
Be my
Navika
guest.
ji, in Telugu, there is a term to explain a certain person. We call him Bahumukha Kala Poshakudu, which means a person who is multifaceted, talented individual. We know that the Prime Minister of this country is a multifaceted, talented individual who can put up many faces, who can bet up many talents at any required time. And today the Parliament was on full display of our Honourable Prime Minister's all talents. And also, Navika ji, the theatrics, the extempore display was absolutely spot on. This is what we expect from Modi ji. And he delivered 100 on 100%. Everything said and done, Navika ji, we were asking for the Prime Minister to react on Manipur because he is the leader of this country. I'm very happy to some extent that he has reacted, but there are certain glaring answers even the Home Minister could not answer. Point number one being the extent of the crisis in the state of Manipur. The way out, does the government has any planned way out, and the future which is required for Manipur. I hope the government, especially the Honourable Prime Minister or the Honourable Home Minister, does give answers for these lines to the country on Manipur. Navika ji, through you, I want to know, as you were talking about the Congress-led alliance, I was trying to find Rahul Gandhi in the house, in the seat which is usually allocated to him while watching the television. Most of the times, I do not see Rahul Gandhi sitting in a seat while the Prime Minister was giving his speech. अगर आपको सभा में ही नहीं बैठना था, when you are not interested in the reply itself, why did the Congress-led alliance even bringing the no confidence? And you are absolutely right. You should have sat through the no confidence motion. You should have listened to the Prime Minister's answer to the end. and I don't know, please correct me if I'm not wrong, was Rahul Gandhi throughout in the parliament when the Prime Minister was speaking? Point number one. Point number two, the Prime Minister today was quoting about how Congress failed in the Northeast. The Congress party has absolutely failed in the Northeast. That's why it has been swept away into the Northeast. As the BJP conceding to the fact that even the BJP is failing in the Northeast. And the last point, Navika ji, because we are in a national debate and Telangana also happens to be part of this country, part of this nation, we were put to some humiliation in the House. There was one member in the House by the name Mr. Nishikant Dubey. He lied that the central government has a contribution in the prideful project of Kaleshwaram. Today, I want Mr. Nishikant Dubey to apologize to the country through the parliament or wherever he could, because not 1 rupee was contributed to the project of Kaleshwaram from the central government. Today, he was not being Nishikant Dubey.
Parliament can be moved on that.
No, that
GVL Narasimha Rao Garu is here, and he will respond to you representing his colleague in the BJP.
Please go ahead.
Yes. No, let the BRS seek further details. But the real issue is how much of Kaleshwaram money has contributed to the coffers of the BRS, because there are widespread corruption.
Why don't you
and
float
there is
an
a lot
investigation?
Well then, GVL Narasimha Rao bring a no confidence motion against the BRS in the Telangana Assembly, because that can be worked for another day. But today was all about the no confidence vote in the Parliament, in the Lok Sabha, and very important question raised by Karthik Reddy. Where was the party and the leader of the party who had sought the no confidence motion in the first place? Rahul Gandhi was only seen leading the walkout. If you don't want to listen to the answer, why ask for a debate? If you do not want to raise questions and objections, why even move a no confidence motion? That's the moot point. The moot point being a no confidence motion, a debate for 3 days, and in the end, the opposition doesn't even want to stay back, listen to the Prime Minister responding to the charges against him. Who's right, who's wrong is a decision that people of India, the real India, will take when polls come in 2024. As of now, people and the perception of the people is that this was just an exercise in politics. Whether you look at the India alliance on one side, and of course, once given the opportunity, did you actually think that the Prime Minister would not use it to hit the ball out of the stadium? And he did just that. Nobody is talking about 2024 anymore. He's talking about 2029. Is the opposition now more on the back foot than before they moved the no confidence motion? That's the question this country is asking. Thank you very much to all my panelists joining me on the NewsHour tonight. But before I go, I want to leave you with a few excerpts of the Prime Minister's very aggressive response in Lok Sabha today. Listen.
जब हम सब जनता के पास गए तो जनता ने भी पूरी ताकत के साथ इनके लिए नो कॉन्फिडेंस घोषित कर दिया और चुनाव में एनडीए को भी ज्यादा सीटें मिली और भाजपा को भी ज्यादा सीटें मिली। यानी एक तरह से विपक्ष का अविश्वास प्रस्ताव हमारे लिए शुभ होता है। और मैं आज देख रहा हूं कि आपने तय कर लिया है कि एनडीए और बीजेपी 2024 के चुनाव में पुराने सारे रिकॉर्ड तोड़ करके भव्य विजय के साथ जनता के आशीर्वाद से वापस आएंगे। आपने कैसी चर्चा की? और तो मैं तो देख रहा हूं सोशल मीडिया में आपके दरबारी भी बहुत दुखी है। ये हाल है आपका। और अध्यक्ष जी देखिए, मजा इस डिबेट का कि फील्डिंग विपक्ष ने ऑर्गेनाइज की, लेकिन चौके छक्के यहीं से लगे। और विपक्ष नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन पे नो बॉल नो बॉल पर ही करता आगे चलता जा रहा है। इधर से सेंचुरी हो रही है, उधर से नो बॉल हो रहे हैं। देश का विश्वास मैं शब्दों में भी प्रकट करना चाहता हूं। और देश का विश्वास है कि 2028 में आप जब अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लेके आएंगे, तब ये देश पहले 3 में होगा। ये देश का विश्वास है। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, ये इंडिया गठबंधन नहीं है। ये इंडिया गठबंधन नहीं है, एक घमंडिया गठबंधन है। ये इंडिया गठबंधन नहीं है, घमंडिया गठबंधन है। और इसकी बारात में हर कोई दूल्हा बनना चाहता है, सबको प्रधानमंत्री बनना है। आदरणीय अध्यक्ष जी, इस गठबंधन ने यह भी नहीं सोचा है कि किस राज्य में आपके साथ, आप किसके साथ कहां पहुंचे हैं। पश्चिम बंगाल में आप टीएमसी और कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी के खिलाफ है, और दिल्ली में एक साथ है। और अधीर बाबू 1991 पश्चिम बंगाल विधानसभा का चुनाव इन्हीं कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ने अधीर बाबू साथ क्या व्यवहार किया था, वो आज भी इतिहास में दर्ज है। पीआर वाले प्रचार क्या करते हैं? मोहब्बत की दुकान का प्रचार करते हैं, इकोसिस्टम लग पड़ती है। इसलिए देश की जनता भी कह रही है, ये है लूट की दुकान, ये है लूट की दुकान, झूठ का बाजार। ये है लूट की दुकान, झूठ का बाजार। इसमें नफरत है, घोटाले हैं, तुष्टीकरण है, मन काले हैं। परिवारवाद की आग के दशकों से देश हवाले है।